The number of graduated people in our society evolved, especially in universities around our Western society. But if we can do a reflection about this new reality, what can we conclude? Are the majority of people aware of their lives, of their society, of their purpose here on this planet, on this existence? Before getting deep into the content, let me introduce myself to you. I'm Matthew, an architect and illustrator passionate about knowledge and art. And in this video, we'll see a multidisciplinary result of art and the topic of the video. So, check it out! The truth is that we live in a positivist society where scientism leads our path, and it sees as the majority they stood only as a utility, a way to reach a result. And these lead us to the division of education and teaching. Teaching is what we have as traditional instruction, primarily within schools and universities, a passive way of learning, an imposition that comes from outside. That vision of study to just pass an exam, and it's totally empty of wisdom. On the opposite, we have education, and that is the major idea of our video today. Education is evolution that comes from inside, a desire to know, the search for the truth, the real taste of the study. Socrates, the founder of Western philosophy, brings us the first and most important question: what am I? And also, what do I have to do? Who doesn't search for these fundamental questions in his life is fated to intellectual slavery, totally alienated. As Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living," unquote. The real study is that builds the path to our freedom, the study that edifies morally the human life. To study is to reflect, is the cultivation of the intelligence. It's Longinus. Plato, one of the greatest Greek philosophers, thousands of years ago, already said that we are the air that we breathe, and also we are the food that we consume, and our moral intelligence, our intellectual, and our soul are the same process. We are the knowledge that we consume, and we need to light the real desire about the truth, about ourselves, to wake up about the matrix, about the illusory veil of matter. And Plato illustrates perfectly with the allegory of the cave, which compared the effect of education and the lack of it in our existence. We can also see our education with an important comparison with agriculture. Cicero, a Roman philosopher, compared this greatly well, open quote. A mind without instruction can no more bear fruit than can a field, however fertile, without cultivation, unquote. We have to cultivate our intelligence, morals and intellectual, to really walk on a path to freedom. Yes, Math, I understood your point, but what to study? Well, my friends, we have to go deep into humanistic disciplines, literature, history, and philosophy. And when I say literature, I refer it to art in general, which relates to every medium of art. We have to consume the moral language, which consists of a psychological language and a spiritual language, and all of those are symbolic language, connotative, allegoric, metaphoric. Literature is the way how we see the world, how we feel about the world, how we interpret existence, and where we see the world reflected. And history is the narrative of the past, and it lives in the present, directly or indirectly. The present is the victorious result of the past, but always with the opportunity to connect with the infinity power, with the divine. That's why it's so important to study the past, to study the traditions, the societies. For example, a lot of people are concerned about our Western society today, living only by fleeting pleasures. And with history, I can say, it's equally with the Roman Empire decay. The unbridled sex, the drugs, all the addictions. The Romans stuffed goose feathers down their throats to vomit, and then they could go on eating and drink all those feasts. And what happened to that society? They were dominated politically. The society isn't sustainable. And I can only bring this example with the study of literature and history, and with most important, philosophy, the mother of all disciplines, who loves wisdom, who has the real desire to know, to understand, to connect all disciplines. Yes, math, you are right, but how do I have to study? Important question, my friend, and it's a simple question, but not easy. The most important secret of study is concentration. You have to put your attention to studying, and the bigger enemy of study is dispersion. Today we are a scattered society, and the key to study is reading, the greatest intellectual food. But how do you know you are really studying? When you immerse deep into the text, the content, the book, and you forget about your surroundings, and you forget about the time, and you feel lost in the reading, stop and go back to where you were. And here, the study must be not just passive and receptive, but active and expansive. Write and speak what you read, because after those, you create another 2 dimensions of the study, the learning, and you increase your absorption of the content and see what is missing. And with patience and discipline, you can say that the knowledge is yours now, belongs to you now, and live that knowledge in search for the true wisdom. Feel the essence, feel your own presence, and always look for the truth. That's the best structure to live the real study, to get the real freedom. As Osho, one of the biggest philosophers of the last century, said one time, "Freedom isn't too distant, it's just hidden behind you." Unquote. And now it's time for the final result of the illustration. This authentic art takes us to the path of the human, with the real study, with the real desire for the truth, the existence and the purpose of life. Awakens of the illusory veil of matter, and start to see with a new powerful vision the emptiness and the whole totally together. I hope you like it, and this illustration will be available for high quality print on my website, with free shipping for several countries. Check it out, guys! And don't forget to follow me for more original content and leave that valuable and simple like for me. Thanks, guys!